we know, Gandhiji was against violence.
The non-cooperation movement was called off by Gandhiji in February 1922 in the wake of the peasants setting fire to the Chauri Chaura police station.
When the police opened fire on a peaceful protest, the people of Chauri Chaura were disturbed. As a result, they set fire to the Chauri Chaura police station that killed 22 policemen. When the non-cooperation movement came to an end, the followers of Gandhiji pressed on the Congress, adopting developmental work in the rural areas. On the other hand, C.R. Das, Motilal Nehru and other leaders believed that the Congress should contest elections and earn an entry to the councils to influence the government policies. The Gandhians carried out social work in the villages, which helped in the introduction of civil disobedience movement in the year 1930 in India.
The establishment of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh (RSS), a Hindu organization, and the Communist Party of India were the two significant developments of the mid-1920s. In addition, Bhagat Singh, the revolutionary leader, also actively participated in the national struggle during this period.
Here's an exercise for all of you. Find out about the ideas of each of these two organizations, the RSS and CPI. Students, now let us learn about civil disobedience movement.
The Lahore session of the Congress took place in the year 1929 under the presidentship of Jawaharlal Nehru. This session has been significant in the history of India for the resolution of attainment of Purna Swaraj or complete independence. The aim was proposed to be achieved through civil disobedience movement.
The leftists in the Congress took the lead for the movement and chalked out a national goal and a program. In the wake of these developments, the Congress Working Committee made a decision to observe 26 January from then on as a day of Purna Swaraj.
On March 12, 1930, Gandhiji called for the Dandi March at the Sabarmati Ashram in Ahmedabad. Through the march, Gandhiji decided to protest against the British salt laws. He planned to take up a march to Dandi, a small village on the coast of Gujarat, and manufacture salt there. Gandhiji, along with 78 followers, marched for 375 kilometers from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi, which took around 24 days.
The newspapers published news about the march, the speeches during the march and the influence on the people. Many village officials en route Dandi resigned their jobs.
On 6th April 1930, Gandhiji reached Dandi. He picked up a handful of salt and broke the salt as a sign of protest of Indians to live under the rule of British and British laws.
The news of the march spread instantly to the other places in the country. The people were influenced immensely. There were protests against the salt laws in various places. The women also actively participated in the civil disobedience movement. Around 1,600 women were imprisoned in Delhi. Along with salt satyagraha, the civil disobedience movement also included picketing of foreign cloth and liquor shops. These shops were burnt by people. Students, during this time, the hand spinning on the charkha was a part of the movement. The British-run schools, colleges and services were boycotted and several people joined the movement. The government subjugated the crowds mercilessly, took to lathi charges and firing on the crowds. Around 90,000 satyagrahis along with Gandhiji and other Congress leaders were jailed. Around 110 people were killed and over 300 were wounded in the firing. There were restrictions imposed by the government on the press. Students, The British tried to divide the people of India by persuading the Muslims, zamindars and other minorities in their support. However, the leaders took to developmental program across the country where they wore khadar and strived for removal of untouchability in the society to bring social unity. Another interesting aspect is that the women influenced by the call of Gandhiji broke the parda and took active part in the struggle. These protests, struggles and movements by the Indian people resulted in the Government of India Act of 1935.
The Government of India Act 1935 called for provincial autonomy and elections were announced to the provincial legislatures in the year 1937. Governments were formed by Congress in 7 provinces out of 11. In September 1939, 2 years after the Congress rule, the Second World War began. After careful evaluation of Hitler, the Congress leaders decided to support the British.
Students, the Congress leaders wanted independence for India from the British in return to their support in the World War II. But the British did not pay any heed to this demand, although the Congress ministers resigned as a mark of protest. Students, now let us learn about the Quit India movement. The British wished to utilize resources of India, that is, the people and the money for World War II. As we have seen earlier, the Congress wanted British to grant independence in return for the support. The British government, however, was not interested in accepting this demand.
On August 8, 1942, the Working Committee of the Congress met at Bombay and passed a resolution that stressed on the immediate end of British rule in India. This was the Quit India resolution that was passed, after which Gandhiji addressed the Indians. Every one of you should from this moment onwards consider yourself a free man or woman and act as if you are free. I am not going to be satisfied with anything short of complete freedom. We shall do or die. We shall either free India or die in the attempt.
This was how Gandhiji motivated the people of India and gave the slogan of do or die.
On August 9, 1942, most of the Congress leaders like Gandhiji, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Azad, Acharya Kripalani, Rajendra Prasad and others were arrested by the government. There were protests and hartals across the country that made the movement a violent one.
While the working class boycotted work from factories, the students attacked police stations, post offices, railway stations and public places. The telephone and telegraph line were cut off by the protesters. Government buildings, vehicles, railway carriages and military vehicles were burnt. Around 10 lakh pounds worth of property was destroyed in the movement. Around 30 policemen and 10 army men lost their lives, while many hundreds of people were killed and thousands were arrested as a part of the government suppression.
The cities of Madras and Bombay were the most affected as a result of the protests. The authority of the British disappeared in areas of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Odisha, West Bengal, Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh. A parallel government was set up in Midnapur during 1942 to 44.
As all this was happening in the year 1940, the Muslim League moved a resolution that demanding independent states for Muslims in the northwestern and eastern areas in the country. There was no mention of partition or Pakistan in the resolution. Students, why do you think the League demanded a separate arrangement for the Muslims in the subcontinent? The League tried to get a separate state for the Muslims from the Hindus from the late 1930s. The history of struggles between some of the Hindu and the Muslim groups is seen as one of the causes of a separate state.
In addition, the provincial elections of 1937 pointed to the League that the Muslims were a minority in the country and that they would continue to have the same status in any democratic structure.
There was a fear in the League that the Muslims may not be represented. In addition, the refusal of the League's idea of formation of joint Congress-League government in the United Provinces in 1937 became another issue of concern for the League. Another important aspect is that during the 1930s, the Congress failed to mobilize the Muslims. The League acted upon the situation and expanded its social support. In the 1940s, the League tried to widen its support at a time when most of the Congress leaders were imprisoned. At the end of the Second World War in 1945, the British called for a dialogue between the Congress, the League and themselves to declare independence of India. Students, the negotiations between them failed due to the League's dominating attitude as the only spokesperson of the Muslims of India. But students, the Congress did not accept the League's decision as a large group of Muslims still extended their support to it. In the year 1946, the elections to the provinces took place. Although the Congress earned success in the general constituencies, the League bagged huge success in the Muslims reserved seats. At the same time, the demand for Pakistan remained.
In March of 1946, a mission was sent by the British cabinet which consisted of Stafford Cripps, Pethick Lawrence and Alexander. This committee came to Delhi to analyze the demand for Pakistan while suggesting a feasible political framework for a free India.
The mission recommended that India should continue to be united while constituting itself as a confederation with some autonomy for the Muslim majority regions. But the Congress and Muslim League were against certain recommendations of the committee, as a result of which the partition of India seemed the only option. With the failure of the recommendations of the cabinet, mission planned a mass protest for Pakistan.
August 16, 1946 was decided to the Direct Action Day. There were riots in Calcutta that went on for many days, which resulted in the deaths of thousands of people.
Students, this violence spread to various places in the country gradually.
Louis Mountbatten, the then Viceroy in 1947, failed to resolve the differences between the Congress and the Muslim League. Subsequently, it was agreed that India would be split into Hindu-dominated India and Muslim-controlled Pakistan. Thus, India became independent on August 15, 1947, while Pakistan became independent on 14 August 1947.
Although the partition was complete, many thousands of people were killed while a number of women underwent many brutal attacks. Lakhs of people were forced to leave their homes, as a result of which they became refugees in unknown lands. This was how the independence of India not only brought in joy but also a lot of pain to several people due to the partition. Well student, that was all for today's class. Hope to see you in the next class. Till then, bye bye.